and welcome to Queer on El Paso. I'm Ted.
I'm Izzy.
And I'm Ceci.
In this, our 7th episode, Float and Flair, we talk about the plans for the upcoming Gay Pride Parade in June. Over the past decade, Pride Fest has expanded beyond a one-day event to include a full month of events around El Paso. These include family-friendly events at the Southwest University Stadium with the Chihuahuas and Locomotives, scholarship presentations for local students, bar nights, the original Street Festival Parade, and much more.
The month of Pride events concludes with our Pride Parade in historic downtown El Paso. It is at these events that we are afforded the opportunity to show the world our true selves and the positive contributions the LGBTQ community brings to El Paso. We look forward to seeing you there.
Our guests today are Christopher Eck, president of El Paso Sun City Pride, Richard Ornelas, and Ernesto Torres, who are both parade co-directors for this year's parade. Gentlemen, welcome to Queer on the El Paso. So tell us a little bit about how you all just got started in becoming involved with Sun City Pride, what your personal history is, what your kind of what led you to where you are now and the roles that you are now, and what you do in the real world too. So Chris, let's start with you again.
I actually got involved with El Paso Sun City Pride because I had just moved back to El Paso from Las Vegas after living there for 12 years. Edward Guerrero III was the president at the time, and he was my good friend. Said, hey, come and do something different. And I'm like, okay. So I went to a board meeting and massaged all the board members just to try to network and get my name out there as a massage therapist. And next thing you know, they had initiated me as a volunteer director to start off, which is...
Wow, that must have been some massage.
They suckered you in.
Yeah. So you want to work at Queer on
So since then, I've been part of the board for 7 years.
Excellent. Great. Well, welcome and thank you. Ernesto?
So I came to an open board meeting. They were looking for board members for this year. And I don't know, I was excited to do something, get back into the community. I had been volunteering with M Factor for a few years. I was on their board. And then I left that to kind of focus on myself for some. And I felt it was time to get back into the community. So this came up and no one was vying for the parade position. And I was like, who can I work with? Because I want to do this. And one name popped into mind. Mm-hmm. So that's how it started.
Wow. Oh. That leads right into you.
Yeah. Well, I've been involved in the community in different little areas here. My first experience within our community was being a bartender at a gay bar here for many years, where I got to meet many of my queer friends throughout the years. And then throughout there, I found a passion for volunteering. Whether it was volunteering at the Borderline Rainbow Center or even with the M Factor as well, and organizing queer sports here in the city. And it was at this point where, just like Ernesto said, I felt like there was something that I wanted to do, and that was to get involved with El Paso Sun City Pride. I've seen it. I was able to walk in the very first parade when I was a bartender, and just seeing the growth that they've had. I've seen the amount of changes that Chris has done and grown within our city, and I wanted to be part of it. So here I am now.
Great. And just to be clear, you all identify as gay men, well, all three of you.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And okay, I just wanted to make sure. So, are any of you all single? No, I'm good. I'm just playing. I'm married. But I'm asking for his.
I am single. I am very gay.
He identifies with all gay men.
Now, what Ernesto didn't tell you is that he also, the year previous, was one of our grand marshals for all the work that he did in the community.
Wow, that's great. Ernesto?
I was last year Grand Marshal, and then the year before, how long ago? The year before, Richard was also Grand Marshal.
Yes.
So
Excellent.
we're kind of like coming back into
Getting back in the fray.
So you all really did kind of, you volunteered out of a sense of community just to kind of, to help serve the LGBTQ community, and then you really rose up and to become Grand Marshals of the parade is really something, and then now you're helping to organize the next generation, I guess you would say. Is that right?
Maybe you could put it that way.
Have you all chosen a Grand Marshal this year?
We have floated around some ideas. We haven't honed in on it yet. We also want to open up to the community like we did last year and have some people submit or nominations for Grand Marshals for this year also.
So let me understand this. The parade is a project of Sun City Pride the larger organization. Is that correct? So you all are committee members serving under the larger umbrella of Sun City Pride. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, good. All right.
That's actually just the history of the parade is actually how El Paso Sun City Pride started. 19 years ago, a few people wanted to just throw a parade, but in order to do so, you had to be a 501c3 or a 501c4. So they got together, made the articles of formation, made all the bylaws, and just for the parade, and never thought of growing into any other community efforts or doing anything else but the parade. So we've always been very centered, and that's been our main focus. And then it's just grown into having the festival and now the drives and scholarships and everything else that we do.
So it really started, the singular vision was the parade. And out of that parade, the entire organization really was born, and all of the other philanthropic work that the Sun City Pride does. Is that right?
Yep.
Wow, that's a good to know.
Yeah, it was the sprout of the pride activities.
That's why everybody loves a parade.
That's right.
What are your all's roles specifically in organizing this year's parade? What are you all working at right at the moment?
Well, we just finalized our theme, organizing the parade as far as who's going to be walking, getting people to sign up for that, the walkers, kind of just organizing that aspect.
Yeah, we have some amazing partners that we work with in our city that help us, whether it's going to be the displays of the plaques to the sashes that we know we all love to wear.
Absolutely, that's a must.
Oh yeah, of course.
Every parade has to have a sash.
Of course. And we get to work with all these great companies that help us build the parade, because I love the parade. Primarily, the reason that I decided to do this particular position in the board was it feels to me like it's one of the largest free LGBT events in the Southwest, or even here in El Paso. Primarily, it's such an event that it's welcome to everybody within our community, which is what I love, and that's really my drive moving forward. Now that we're going closer to the parade, it's getting more families to attend and more of it. So while it is a lot of the hard work on the back end, it really is really motivating us on the front, getting those to come and check us out.
Absolutely. I was in the parade last year, and I was on the float looking down, and there were families and abuelitas and children, and I thought, wow, this is really great. This is our city coming out to support us. I loved it. I thought I felt proud at that moment.
It's interesting because I've been to other pride parades in bigger cities, and there's diversity in however you look at it. But there was something uniquely El Paso about Sun City Pride Parade, because it really is, as he was saying, very family oriented, and allies and people with their aunts and uncles or parents or kids. I mean, it really had a really nice familial setting to the entire parade, which I think is very uniquely El Paso. Is that something that you all try to cultivate? I'm assuming that's what you were talking about, Richard.
Yeah.
Well, what's beautiful about El Paso, and what we've recognized, especially working with city council members and leaders in the community, is that El Paso is really, truly an underlying sanctuary city for the LGBTQ community, especially the trans community. We have a huge trans community that, yes, there is violence. Yes, there are people who are afflicted by it, and we just recently had gay bashing, so on and so forth. But overall, this is such a sanctuary city when it comes in comparison to bigger cities, like you said. And the diversity and the love that El Paso puts forth, even though we have to face the hate is nothing compared to what others have to face. At least we get just vocal.
I think a lot of that has to do with the family roots in El Paso. I think that is a big part of who El Paso is, who we are. As a city, it does have a very familial community sense to it. It's not so I could see that. I mean, growing up in El Paso and being in other cities, you can sense that there are a little bit more. There are places where you have to be really careful, But in El Paso, it doesn't seem to be so much so. It does seem a lot more accepting, a little bit more open. So tell us why, in your opinion, why are pride parades important?
I think for the community. For community building, not like the community, obviously for the queer community, but just for the representation, just to, just bring people together and to have fun and enjoy something and see a spectacle, and share that moment with your neighbor who you don't know yet, waiting in line on the street.
I thought I like tradition. I'm quite traditional in a lot of things in my life. So the idea to have something to look forward to every year, like a parade, especially the El Paso Sun City Pride, because we know it's going to be coming. So it's exciting to see old friends. Sometimes we don't connect with them every day. We might not see them, but we know that we're going to see them there at the parade just for a hi, a hello. So I love it because of the tradition that it holds and how it's going to continue to hold.
I'm more of an I look at it more on the activist side. Pride did start as a protest, and it was original. The parade was a protest, a march down the street, activism at its fullest, peaceful activism, yelling to the top of our lungs that we are here. We're not going. We're here. We're here queer. We're not going anywhere. And we now get to choose how to demonstrate that activism, whether through joy of demonstrating our lives, the way we live, that we're just happy and you're not going to tear us down. And that's thankfully how we've grown. But still in the heart and the root of our parades, we always try to put a sense of activism of, look, we're here, no matter who you think we should, where we should be or not, we're always going to be here. And my biggest belief is that the day that we don't need a parade anymore is the day that we don't have to come out of the closet.
So you would assume that a younger person that may be contemplating their life and maybe not sure where they might fall in the sexuality spectrum or the identity spectrum happens to see on the news that, look, there's a gay pride parade in El Paso. Now, I remember back a time where we didn't have a parade. Yeah. And so that immediately already opens the door a little bit to acceptance, and not just that child that's contemplating, but also their families, and maybe they want to come down or something like that. So at the seed of everything really is activism and acceptance, I would assume.
So.
And exposure, I would think, because the public, our city, gets to see who we are and gets a feeling of the kind of people that we are, and gets to see us as regular people, like their sons, their daughters, and whatnot. So it normalizes who we are, as opposed to making us something, an object of fear or anything like that.
As someone who's exposed himself to a great many people, I couldn't agree more.
A beautiful story that comes out of Pride is 2 years ago. Really made everything that I've done being on the board worthwhile. Was there was a young girl, unfortunately she lost her father to COVID, and was she was trapped. She felt trapped, and she obviously, after losing her father, who was her mentor, started to rebel against her mom and her mother, feeling helpless. Like, what do I do? I'm barely getting back to work. We're getting my child barely back to school. She came out to her mother and identified as lesbian because of the parade. And with that, we honored her at one of our brunches. Her mother wrote us a beautiful letter saying, thank you for having these parades and thank you for having all of your events, because my daughter felt brave enough to talk to me about it just after the parade, and we just broke down because she felt trapped and so on and so forth after COVID. And once we reinitiated the parade, everything she felt comfortable enough to talk to her parents. So that in itself makes all the work that we do worthwhile, at least for me.
Yeah, that's exactly
absolutely
right. Yeah. So tell me, in organizing the parade, I know that it's March, and you all, were gracious enough to talk to us for our March edition. And you're planning for the June parade. I'm assuming you all have a date already in mind.
Yes, we do. June 29th.
June 29th. So now, what are some of the challenges that you all have facing the June 29th parade in terms of organizing it, and how can people get involved? What are some of the things that people can do today to help plan to be a part of the parade?
Because I think the challenges that we have is getting people excited to participate in the float idea. I mean, that's, when we're able to announce our theme, we're hoping that it inspires creativity in a lot of people to get them out to try to think outside the box. And I know a few years ago, N Factor was a great example. Borderland Rainbow Center is another great example. They would look forward to the parade, and then they would decorate the theme. So we wanted to come up with something that would encourage our community to not only walk on the parade, but use their creative juices to actually play on the theme that we have this year and get conversations talking about it. So that's something I would love. And I think it's a little bit of a challenge because I know sometimes we just want to walk on there, but I'm hoping that people really get, look at rentals and see if they could get a trailer this time around and get costumes and stuff.
And do you have to be part of an organization to have a float, or could it just be a group of people that decide they want to march together and maybe make a statement, or what are the parameters?
Yeah.
You don't have to be part of an organization at all. If you're a group of people that just want to march, you can go ahead and march We have different tiers that you would enter in, and different fees and so on and so forth. And just basically, if you want to march and we see that you're just a group of people wanting to support, we can, as a board, we all decide, oh no, go ahead and waive the fee, or go ahead and do X, Y, and Z. Our fee is very minimal, and it's mainly just to hold accountability for the corporations and so on and so forth.
And so it's only really limited to anybody's creativity, I would assume. I mean, you want them to kind of embrace your all's theme, but at the same time, it's really just open to expression, right?
Yes. I mean, people should really just think of it like Mardi Gras. Come out and show yourself. Get friends together, put together a float. And that kind of thing.
What a great friends project to pull together. Get your friends together. We're going to do a float this year, and this is our theme, and this is what it's going to look like.
The real purpose for the registration is mainly for our permits.
Yeah.
For the city to know, okay, there's going to be X, Y, and Z number, and this is who's there.
And you remind me of something. I don't know if you like Dale and Fred. And Randy and a lot of group of people they used to be called the Golden Girls, and they used to dress up during the parade, and they used to go every year, and that was like their thing, and everybody knew who they were. The Golden Girls. It was Randy and Fred, and so many other people. Pedro. There was all these great group of friends that would get together for the parade, and they were called the Golden Girls. And
I remember that.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun.
The Briar Patch was their home.
Oh yeah.
They used to get their mail there.
Oh yeah, and I love them to death, and I still do. And I'm definitely going to encourage them to come make a comeback for the Golden Girls to make an appearance.
That would be really cool. I hope that you can do that.
That would kind of fit into with our theme a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. I love them, by the way. They're great.
I have a Golden Girls t-shirt with the rainbow behind it, so you know that those Golden Girls have a tie to it, the gay community.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Do you all keep track of how many people are actually attend the parade, not just march in it, but you have a rough estimate of how many people attended the parade in the past?
We do. It's actually PD. We get a grant from the city to hire PD to go and help keep everyone safe on the lines, the barriers, because it is a moving parade, a moving permit. So we don't just block off like the Thanksgiving parade's a standstill parade, to where they block the streets for 2 days and so on and so forth. Whereas we move, they blockade, and then they open the streets right behind us.
Oh, I see. Okay,
and so
that's
from
the distinction.
The PD actually gets a rough estimate of how many attendees are there along the side roads. And from the report last year, we had about 10,000 attendees.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
That's excellent. Wow, I just got goosebumps.
That's really great. I mean, it's good to have those numbers, and while they're not probably not the exact number, but that gives you a real ballpark, and so that you can track your growth and see how much bigger and much more of an impact you all have in the community.
Yeah.
Which businesses could get involved, and why do you think they should? For example, I know that I'm very impressed having come out of the closet in the late 80s, early 90s, and before there was a gay pride parade, and we were kind of in these, back bars sort of where we weren't really visible, to now we have Pride Square and we have people marching in the streets, and it's really amazing. But the thing that even took it up a notch for me personally is to see companies like El Paso Electric involved, to see the police department being so gracious and so kind and also so professional, and that we're there and to add that legitimacy to what you all are doing. What other types of businesses opportunities are there for businesses to get involved with Gay Pride, and what has been your experience with that?
Okay. All right. So through the years and our growth of 19 years, obviously we've been around. Next year will be our 20th. We're very excited. But out of 19 years of the parade, we used to seek just come join us, be part of us, come and join. Through the years, it has become more of a trend to where more corporate arenas have what we call rainbow wash their logos, and they use a system marketing scheme to make money off the community, but really aren't a part and don't give back. So Sun City Pride has grown into where we do really observe and keep those margins and encourage everyone to join, but understand that if you are a corporation, the fees to be part of the parade, you're not just going to rainbow wash your logo. You'll come in and actually pay your dues, whereas a normal person or a normal group of who's just a community supporters, so on and so forth, but they're not tagged along with the corporate. An example, and they're amazing, is ADP. ADP, they're always huge supporters. They always win the floats. They're awesome. But just an example is that they will pay a certain sponsorship fee, and then they're part of the float, to where, let's say the 5 of us want to go and march and support, our fee is a minimal, next to nothing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and so it's super important, just because of the fact that not only does it give that support on a nationwide level, but we're also holding those companies accountable and not just using us as marketing schemes to sell merchandise.
I remember last year being amazed to see Fort Bliss participating.
They've grown.
Right, just because of the whole, controversy, don't ask, don't tell, things like that, over the years. And so I remember seeing the tank and being like, oh wow.
Yeah. Well, in fact, we were at the parade together, Ceci and I, and that's what I meant by the surprise, is that, I was always amazed to see the level of corporate participation compared to how the very humble beginnings and how this project actually started to where you all are now is really quite a journey and something to be very proud of. And I can see that it's in capable hands to keep that going. And so you all are already looking forward to your 20th anniversary next year, which is always a good sign, And I think it's one of those things where the more success you have, the more you will meet. It just kind of exponentially grows from there, which is amazing.
And I've been super surprised. Like, we had Homelight. It's a real estate company that come out and said, hey, we want to be sponsors and we want to march in your parade. We're like, who are you? How did you hear about us? Southwire just messaged us today that they want to be a sponsor. And I was like, wait, who are you? How did you hear about us? How did this happen? And things like doing the beautiful work that I'm sure these gentlemen are going to do. And the previous parade director, Freddie, and the previous parade director, Dave, who was the founder, have done through the years and built this parade up to what it is. It just opens doors, and you're just so surprised. They're like, wait, you have an LGBTQ branch? Like ADP has their little branch for LGBTQ employees, and you just never realize that. You're like, oh wow, they are truly supportive because they actually have their groups within the company.
And it's exactly what you said. It's not just rainbow washing. These organizations that have an actual LGBTQ outreach department, and their big corporations or their HR departments are very sensitive to those type of issues. That's really what you want. Those are your best supporters right there. And so they're more than welcome to come in and march in the parade, so that other people know. Other people know that El Paso Electric is a great place to work with, or work at, or work for when you're in a minority.
And patronize for those of us in the community. We want to know who to go to and who we want to support.
Right. Well, I get all my electricity from El Paso.
I'm just saying.
I want to pay back.
El Paso Electric is amazing. They have a wonderful grant program that they've done for years. They help, if you have a great mission, a great goal, they try as best as they can to try to fund those. We have been very fortunate to receive that grant a few over the years, but there's other organizations like the Borderline Rainbow Center and another LGBTQ nonprofit called The Network, where they received $10,000 for a startup to start their nonprofit. Just different things that El Paso Electric has just, I'm like, who are you all? Great job. Like, great.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, and we can put a pin in this if you are not ready to, but are you all ready to talk about the theme for this year?
We're ready.
Okay,
We've been excited about it.
Good. Well, please.
Yeah, we've been
I like
really
excitement.
It's a Queer Onda exclusive.
This just in.
It truly is.
All right, so the theme for this year's Pride Parade. Spotlight on Pride, LGBTQIA+, stage and screen.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
First of all, my Marilyn Monroe costume fits. So we've got that going for us.
Yes.
But that's kind of the idea, right? Talk about spurring creativity. That's really exciting. So the idea is to embrace stage and screen icons.
Stage and screen icons, movies, plays, any entertainment that speaks to the LGBTQIA+ community, characters. So when we were kind of going back and forth with ideas, and we settled on 2. And we were kind of asking, kind of crowdsourcing, asking the board which one would they prefer. And everyone just kind of settled on this one because it was really open to a lot of creative ideas and a lot of possibilities with it.
What's interesting too is that, let's face it, a lot of stage and screen achievements are at the hands of gay and lesbians. And so it is a nice celebration of the talent in our community, and it also is a great invitation for us to show off some local talent, and we'll see what people come up with. I'm very excited about this already. That's great.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our conversations that we talked about was really queer cinema, stage, and television throughout the decades. And for me, I had to sit down and really think about what was my first time that I remember seeing an influential, like a queer character. And I thought about it when I was driving here, and to think of what was really the one moment that I really thought of, like, I think that person's queer, and I'm okay with it, and I like it. It was Clueless, the movie Clueless.
Oh, really?
And Cher, like the boy, and the boy was, and she just, it's just a moment. And I remember watching that as a kid and being like, oh my goodness, I'm him. I'm the kid. I'm gonna meet Cher one day. And I love that. So, and I think that's gonna open up a lot of conversations for our communities, because a lot of us have not been in the spotlight. So I think this is an opportunity to get on the spotlight and shine a little bit with our parade this year.
I think that's wonderful. I like that spotlight idea.
And I think it's reflective of what's going on right now, and the fact that you have all these brand new LGBTQ representation in television, Heartstopper, wholesome, just all the TV shows out there, and then you have Saltburn, but it's just like really pushing the envelope. But who would have thought something like that, how artistic that it is, could have pushed through and actually won so many awards and done so well, and be LGBTQ forward, yet
Yeah, and also it helps to normalize it. We've talked a lot in the past episodes about the show Heartstopper, because it is so genuinely nice.
Yes.
And it is simply a teenage romance between two boys, and it's done in such a way that it is just so normalized and so nice. I mean, we're going back to you brought up a very interesting point, Richard, about when you first started to see your queer self represented on the stage or screen. And for me, it was Kiss of the Spider Woman, that old movie. The idea is that those stereotypes were what we had to work with then,
right?
And the consequences of that, because a lot of times if you had queer characters, they didn't always meet the happy ending. And you contrast that to this young story on Heartstopper, where you see these young boys realizing who they are and enjoying their love. It is quite a vast difference. And so it's great to see both ends of that and where we are today. So today, now, in this world, to have a pride theme, a parade pride theme, that celebrates where we are in terms of visibility, I think is brilliant. So congratulations on that. So now I want to know from Izzy, what was your first?
I was going to tell you, and it is kind of stereotypical. Paul Lynn. That is as gay as you get.
Yeah, he sure was.
Yes.
Do you know who that is? Yes.
Hollywood Squares too, right?
Yeah, you all are much younger, but yes, Paul Lynn was one of those.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Ascot wearing.
There was no
pinky ring.
There was no question mark about his sexuality.
See, mine, I remember in Three's Company.
Oh yes.
Just even Jack pretending to be gay just to live with Chrissy and Janet was my first
hello.
Yeah, I mean I think I was like maybe 5 or something, and I was like, I don't get it. Why can't you just live with them? Like, what is the big deal? And then as you get older, you see it and you're like, oh, that's what they meant.
Yeah. That's interesting. What about you? Talked about yours. Anybody else?
Clueless. Clueless, but I also remember watching Tu Wong Fu as a kid, and I thank my mother for that, because she never shied away from watching films that had queer characters. So I'm very grateful for that, because I remember watching that and Miss Doubtfire, and I appreciate that she never put my eyes away from watching that, because she thought that if I was to watch something like that, it was going, she was going to have a gay son because of it, and then, so she, so I remember watching all those movies, and they're still good to this day.
Yeah.
They're classics.
They are. We were talking about Tu Wong Fu in the last episode, and you're absolutely right. I mean, there's nothing better than that. And also, it was a very affirming movie. That, The Birdcage. What about yours, Ernesto?
Oh my gosh. So for me, it's a little bit like, it was, not to open up a huge, have a psych session here, but I'm
listening.
being gay or being queer, like in my house, was kind of like very taboo. But I do remember when I would watch Will and Grace, I would have my finger on the like return button on the remote, so I could go back to like whatever Nickelodeon or Disney Channel, whatever it was. So I think it would be those characters from Will and Grace. I do remember my mom a few times had seen the movie Ma Vie en Rose, of that little boy who was dressing up as a girl.
Yes.
So I get glimpses of that when I was younger, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if my mom was like doing research. Is my boy going to be gay? I don't know, but I think Will and Grace would be something that sticks out more.
That makes a lot of sense too, and that was a very positive imagery for gays, as opposed to like Three's Company, where I mean he wasn't gay, and that was just kind of like the pretext to allow this character. But with Will and Grace, I mean that really was seminal because these characters were out and they didn't shy away from anything, which was really neat. So that's an example of how that kind of works, and to help reaffirm your own identity, I would assume.
Yeah. I also like rewatching older sitcoms, like on Mad About You. They have the queer coded characters, and like now watching it with this 39-year-old lens, I'm all like, oh, okay, well, I get
Look
it
at
now.
that.
I get it.
Now you make me want to go and watch Mad About You reruns. Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Well, I don't know. I can't really explain. I don't have a time of a queer character. I know my gay awakening was Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street too. Right? Nightmare on Elm Street. Crop top. Yeah. So that was my gay awakening back in the day. But really, it was Disney Channel. Watching. I was very artsy. I danced, I sang, I played instruments, and Mickey Mouse Club. Just seeing other kids that were doing the splits and doing twirls, and El Paso not really having that foundation, like having dance classes for boys. I'm 46, and it really wasn't thought of. Like, you don't do that. You don't put your boy in dance. You put your boy in football. You put your boy in baseball. You put your boy in all that. And my parents were okay with it because they saw how passionate I was about dance and theater and all that, and saw that I wanted to do that. So on the side, they kind of allowed me to go ahead and watch that and mimic and do talent shows and wear all spandex. I remember wearing neon green spandex in my second grade, doing a musical Cinderella and having that higher pitched voice in Cinderella, but knowing all the words. And, just little things like that, and wearing my mom's plastic clear heels, but there were glass slippers for Cinderella, but I played Cinderella the character. Yeah. And it was just, I don't know. I think I don't recall any sort of TV or cinema really pushing, or not pushing, that really reflects to the gay agenda, because there wasn't that much. It was very, very, very hidden.
Let me point one out to you. Kids Incorporated. Do you remember Kids Incorporated?
My favorite show.
Yeah.
Kids Incorporated.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, that's right. We're all drawn to the spotlight. We're all drawn to the spotlight. That's why it's such a good thing.
That in a number.
Is there any ideas that you have about how you're going to be dressed on Pride? Do you want to tease it out? If you don't want to, if you want to be a surprise, that's fine. But do you want to tease us with anything that we can be looking out for?
Oh, I don't know yet.
To be honest, the board rarely, we're trying this year, we're going to try again. The board rarely marches in the parade because there's so much to do.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
We're always on the sidelines preparing, paying, and at the end, I don't know if you all recall, we have a free picnic at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we end at Houston Park, and so the other half of the board's there, like everyone there, everyone's up to code, permits, and so on and so forth, and merchandise set up. We're always so busy but we're going to try this year because we do finally have a full board. We do have 21 members.
Wow, that's impressive. Well, keep the costume simple, because I'll tell you one thing. It's just like hosting a party.
Yeah.
The host has the least fun at the party.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, it is a labor of love. Everything that you all are doing as volunteers to put this event on is really a labor of love. And so I know that it's a lot of work, and it's not necessarily a party for you all, but it's a party for the community.
Good.
So tell us, let's pivot a little bit. Tell us a little bit about where Sun City Pride is now, what your plans are for the near future, what we can look forward to, and tell us a little bit about the other things aside from the parade that Sun City Pride does.
My turn. So we do a slew of things. Obviously, throughout the years, we do drives. We do toy drives,
School
supply drives, Easter basket drives, so on and so forth. Whereas I posted on the Easter basket drive the original LGBTQ org that has done the drives with the help of El Paso. Just because it seems like that's mainly how we began our philanthropic efforts. Since then, we've grown into doing pride markets to do more family-friendly events. So we partner with Art of Vito's Desert Crossing, which will be May 25th, to do Pride Market, where all LGBTQ those who sell crafts and businesses can go and have a booth and sell, and it's very, very LGBT-centric, because I don't know if you all know Marina's family. She's part of our LGBTQ family,
Yes.
and she's very, very supportive. So we partnered with her with that. We are starting a new initiative this year, which I can go announce. It's called Light Up El Paso with Pride. That will be May 31st, where we're lighting for the first time the Star on the Mountain in rainbow.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
That seriously made me actually tear up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. That's very cool.
It's been a work in progress, but it's thankfully with the Office of Eliana. Oh my gosh, Holguin. And also with the El Paso Chamber. We've partnered up. We're fundraising. It does cost money. It costs $10,000. So if anyone's interested to help, please go to our website and or even our social media. We do have links where you can help. And we're trying to raise $10,000 to do that. But it will be a countdown we're going to try. El Paso Chamber said that they can make it happen is downtown will turn off, the star will turn off, and then we'll do a countdown with ribbon cutting and all downtown, and the star light up with rainbow colors.
That's going to be
very
awesome.
Fingers crossed. It all stands out.
What's the website that they can go to help donate?
It'll be www.suncitypride.org.
So, and the other thing is we're coming up and have the Easter Basket Drive. Tell us a little bit about that and how people can get involved.
So we are collecting Easter baskets, obviously for underprivileged kids, and we have different drop-off locations throughout the city. And also, I mean, as board members, we kind of are putting our money where our mouth is and giving back, and also making baskets and having like little basket planting parties and setting that up for them.
And we'll be closing out on March 28th at Epic Bar. We're doing something different this year. Instead of we usually would hire large talent, a RuPaul drag girl, so on and so forth. But we're going to do something different. We're going to do a turnabout for the board.
Oh.
We're going to do, some of our board members are going to go and do drag. I'm going to try to do drag, but still with, I don't know quite yet.
That was part of your play from the very beginning.
So come out to Epic. We'll do our closeout party with the turnabout Easter basket. It's called the Easter Basket Drive Closeout Turnabout.
That's
Yes,
great.
it's a blah, 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 mouthful. But we'll close out there. Then what we do is we count all the baskets. We already have a school in Sparks Independent School District where we're getting 70 baskets. They've already allotted 70 of them. And then from there, we used to go to Dama del Mano, the Reynolds home, so on and so forth. But after COVID, we said, how can we continue this work? So we set up at Memorial Park and did a drive-by pickup. It was so successful that we haven't stopped since then. So now people line up, people look forward to it, and they drive and park their cars, line up, they get their baskets. But now that COVID is not over, but it's a little bit less. It's in the outdoors. We're outside, for goodness sake. The kiddos line up on the sidewalk. We have an Easter bunny there, and then we give them their baskets so they can take a picture with Easter bunny on the morning of the 31st, Sunday, Easter Sunday. And that's at 9 a.m. until all the baskets are gone. And yeah.
So if people wanted to donate, would they make a cash or a check donation, or do they prepare the baskets themselves, or how could they do both?
They could do both. We prefer them prepared because that from the 20th to the 31st doesn't give us a lot of time to go and purchase. There's not a lot out there left, obviously, because people sell out. So we prefer that then they're already prepared and they bring them.
Are there any parameters that somebody that was preparing a basket should look towards? Like, is there any kind of limits or anything like that? Guidelines?
We've had people bring like the big body size baskets. They brought in human size bunnies. We try to just do the average basket size so everybody's fair. But you should see the kiddos. No matter what they get, they're just happy, and they see the Easter bunny and they're like, oh my goodness! And it's awesome. It's an awesome event.
What other events do you all have coming down for the rest of the year?
Rest of the year, so I can continue. Okay, so we have Light Up the Night on May 31st. June 1st is our first official Pride event, which is Pride Night with the Locomotives. We will have tickets on sale for $18, I believe that's where it's set. You can buy them at either Dillinger's Bar or Epic, or from any of the board members. We'll be selling them. And then on the following weekend, on the 8th, is it the 8th?
It would be the 8th of December.
Yeah, the 8th is, we finally got our event back. It was kind of hijacked, but we finally got our event back with the El Paso Zoo. So we're bringing back the annual Hear Me Roar event. So we partnered with El Paso Zoo, and it's just a family fun event. Yes, it does cost a minimal amount, but we have vendors, we have people tabling with HIV education, with all sorts of education, LGBTQ education, but mainly, especially to see the new penguins that should be out. The exhibit should be open. So that's pretty fun. That was my baby, and very sad that to see it leave. But now that it's back and we've worked with the manager of the zoo, we're excited to see it have a comeback. Then the following weekend is the 15th. We're trying to work with a national organization called Crawl With Us. They started coming in and just doing their own thing, and we're like, hey, who are you guys with? Are you even El Paso? And you don't even go here. What are you doing?
Who are you with?
So they do a bar crawl. And it's usually a nationwide, which they have it planned on the 22nd right now. And nationwide, they push play, and they have bar crawls all at the same time, all around the U.S. Because our big festival is on the 22nd, I already called them and they said, okay, well, can we move it? And I'm like, yeah, how about the 15th? So hopefully we'll get all of that settled, and we'll have the bar crawl on the 15th, which obviously if you're an adult there's a ticket, but its cost is minimal. I believe the tickets are like $10 or $15, and then you just go bar to bar, see the LGBTQ ally businesses, and you support the El Paso economy. Wow.
So it's not just bars, or is it?
It's restaurant bars. So hopefully we're going to get Lapa Lapa involved, because they were part of the golf tournament earlier this year. It's all around like downtown area.
Well, that sounds like not only that, but also an event like that reinvests in the community, because you'll spend money at those places, and you introduce a large group of people to a new place maybe they wouldn't have gone to. So it works both ways. So that's obviously the kind of that reciprocal nature that you want.
And I just love that it just shows the allyship of the businesses that people really didn't know about. They're like, oh wow, you actually support our community? Like of course we do. So it just brings safe spaces. It helps allow to show those safe spaces. And then our big Pride Festival will be June 22nd. Location still in the works. We still haven't settled on where we're going to actually have it, whether it's going to be downtown, just due to permitting. It takes a lot. Yet last year we couldn't get our permit until the 2 days before the event. It's been so tough. So we're trying to actually move it to the county, and with the Scott at the park. But we'll see who comes in first. Yeah. But thankfully we have such a great relationship with all the commissioners. We just have to see where it ends up. Where it ends up. So, and then we'll do our amazing parade the following weekend on the 29th. Ooh. Yay! And then we'll close out Pride Month-ish on July 6th, just for the fact that it's 4th of July. We try to stay with the 4th of July. People are off. And then I'll give them something to do on Saturday, July 6th at Wet n Wild. And that is our 10th year now that we've had our quote-unquote splash party at Wet n Wild. And we rent out the jungle park. They've added cabanas, and so we rent out those cabanas out as part of the package. We rent the cabanas and then re-rent them to those who want their privacy instead of having pop-up tents. And it's super cool and just a wonderful day. They stay open 2 extra hours, so you get to see the sunset, and it's just a day of fun. And that's how we end our June season. But it doesn't stop there, because then we start planning the rest of the year, and we start our school drive. Immediately start our school drive because school starts in August. And so we're like, okay, let's get the school drive. We have our elections in August. So all board seats will be open. again. So hopefully I get reelected for my second term.
Well, and that brings to mind that if somebody is hearing this and would like to get involved either on the board, not just at the event, but if actually they think that they could bring something to the table and maybe want to get a little bit more involved, then I'm assuming that that's also information available on your website. Is that right?
Yes, and that's the big thing too, is that you don't have to be on the board to get involved. If you have an idea and you have something that you want to bring to fruition, an event, a cause of anything, come to our board meetings. They're open every other Thursday, and we're there and just say, hey, can I be on the agenda? Or wait for roundtable and say, hey, I have this idea. Can we bring it to life?
And where are your board meetings held?
We do Zoom, and then we just because we don't have a brick and mortar yet.
Okay.
So we basically just bounce back and forth, but you're always welcome via Zoom if the location's not mentioned. Yeah, so it's always accessible.
So they are public meetings. That's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only time we lock them out is if we're going to talk to the entertainment lineup, saying, okay, so now this part of the meeting we're going to close the Zoom, or if you could go ahead and dismiss yourselves, just because we don't want to spoil the surprise of the lineup.
And those Zoom links can be found where?
On our on our social medias, all the time. It's the same exact Zoom link. We still post it every Thursday morning, even though it's the same Zoom link. You could always just go to the last one and it's the same.
Jeez, you queers are busy. Yes. I love it. And I cannot be more proud of being a part of the LGBTQ community in El Paso because of everything you all are doing. You all have made a huge difference.
And a big point too, I want just to reiterate, is that we're all volunteers. There are two different boards. There's working boards and then there's sitting boards. Mm-hmm. And we're a working board. That's why we have 21 board members, because we have 2 people in every position. So there's never a ball dropped. And we volunteer. We do our regular 9 to 5 jobs or 12-hour jobs, and then we come and do all this work on the side. Yeah. So I know there's a lot of like, oh, well, you all make so much money. I'm sure that you're doing it for the money. We make $0. As a matter of fact, it's a negative. We put so much money into it. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. It's worth it. Like I said, the little girl coming out, having that ability to come out to her parents, that's what makes it worthwhile. And that's more than gold in itself.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with us that we didn't cover?
One of the social media campaigns that we're planning to do is interviewing members of the community, asking them about their queer movies or plays or anything, entertainment. So, what is your earliest? Oh, I guess we already went over that. But what would be your favorite queer, quote unquote, movie?
Oh, that's definitely Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Definitely.
That's a good one.
Yeah, those outfits, the costumes were so creative, and just watching the 3 of those characters bond and fight and love each other. It was brilliant. It was campy. It was heartfelt, and then you got to see a glimpse of this Australian side and this different culture. So I really loved Priscilla.
That's made him buy a pink bus.
It was a Barbie bus, but it was pink.
That's funny.
And
For me, gosh, I would have to say like something like Victor Victoria.
Ooh.
First of all, that was mine.
I'm sorry. I'm a Turner Classic Movies brat, so growing up I love Julie Andrews, so that would be my first foray into that. But
mine is absolutely Victor Victoria, and it's one of my most favorite movies of all time, but mostly because it's so clever in that you have this woman impersonating a gay man, so she's faced with all the issues that gay men are faced, but it was done in such a way where it wasn't threatening to the audience at the time, and it was okay for her to stand up for gay men as a woman dressed as a gay man. Mm-hmm. And then you had her best friend who was a gay man and was an open gay man, and so it wasn't that Three's Company thing. It was like they dealt with sexuality quite frankly. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, you add in a Paris setting, beautiful costumes, singing and dancing. I'm on board. I mean, if that to me is the gay movie of my life.
And James Garner.
And James Garner, because he was very attractive.
Yes, he was.
But also, I like that his bodyguard was an real ex-football player, Papadakis, I believe, is his last name, and he's like this big bear of a man, and he came out in the movie as gay, and that to me was like, oh baby, so it was all these things that just kind of lined up, and boy, by the end, I would think I was probably about 13 years old when the movie came out, and I just was like, I totally embraced everything about that film.
I remember the scene. One of my favorites is when Papadakis does come out and he kisses James Garner on the cheek.
Yeah,
he just left flabbergasted and floored by this.
It was so brilliant, and it was really dealt with some of these really interesting issues, but in a very kind of innocuous way and very charming, so that nobody got really that offended by it, and they shouldn't. But that was the point of the movie. Yeah.
I guess I have a movie to watch this weekend. I've never seen a movie before.
You've never seen Victor Victoria?
No.
Oh my God!
Am I
Yes,
gonna get-
please. You can stream it on HBO. So,
Oh, really?
I think
Okay,
so.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right. I will give you my notes.
I love that idea. So you're kind of getting some ideas of what inspired, or what is the community's members' ideas of what the gay cinema was, or how it affected them.
That, and we kind of want to like get the wheels turning for people who want to participate in our parade and who want to walk. So, you know, Priscilla Queen of the Desert, maybe someone in a silver lame.
I can see that. That's going to be very
A
very
giant
fun.
stiletto.
Yes, that'd be really cool to see coming down.
Kansas.
Rio Grande, or Kansas. or something.
Yeah, Kansas, yeah. So speaking of cinemas, as part of our theme, I didn't announce it for the events. We will be partnering with, the
George and
Aaron and George.
Aaron
and George. Well, they did agree, but we haven't discussed all the details, but we are hopefully going to be running some LGBTQ movies all throughout the month of
Oh, nice. That's
cool,
good.
right?
They are so
for free.
Good. That's very good. Okay, so then one last thing. What's the deadline to get into the parade?
Well, once we officially announce it, we're going to have all the details on our social media. It's going to have a link that's going to be able to give you the deadlines. Of course, you could go as far up to the week before the parade.
Okay.
On there. Now, the prices do go up a little bit higher because, again,
the
you
last
secure your
minute.
spot, but first come, first serve. So anybody that takes advantage of that, we'd love to get everybody to sign up as soon as they can. It helps us as organizers really see what we're expecting and what challenges we have when it comes to having a perfect parade go down the line. We hope so. So,
Knocking on wood.
yeah, knocking on wood.
In the past, we have done it up to the day of, but it creates such a challenge because El Paso is such a city of mañana.
well, and you have that
Yeah.
with gay time.
Yeah.
Forget about it. I mean, it's a miracle I actually can get to the parade. I understand the challenge you're dealing with, but the sooner the better, and particularly if you want people to kind of show up. And the whole idea is to get people excited about the theme and to participate. And if you're thinking about doing it, just do it and start planning it now.
And just for fundraising purposes, what are the fees to enter early on so that people can start planning?
The early bird fees we put at 40.
Do you have the link? Did you send it?
It was going to be 40, and then after every month, it was going to go up a little bit more.
Oh, that's
So
good.
$40 is not bad.
No, that's perfectly reasonable. I mean, it shouldn't be a hindrance at all.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
and as I understand it, you all kind of have a sliding scale. It's everything, the idea is to get as many people involved as possible.
Right.
So that's great. Well, let's see. I thank you all for this great conversation. I wish you all luck. This is going to be a very exciting year, a very exciting Pride season. So, Chris, Ernesto, and Richard, good luck to you all. Please feel free to reach out to Queer Onda whenever you'd like, and we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And for now, this is Ted.
This is Izzy.
And this is Ceci.
This has been
Queer Onda El Paso.
For more information regarding the 2024 Sun City Pride Parade or upcoming events, visit queeronda.com or suncitypride.org.
We'd love to hear from you. Email us at feedback@queeronda.com or visit our website and leave a comment. www.queeronda.com. That's www.queeronda.com.